Hello. So I thought I would do another word, and that word is term. Term. So there's several meanings, so that means it's several signs, right? Because ASL is a concept language, period. And it makes more sense, especially if you're kind of reading it. If you're reading it in a book, it's a little bit different because that's English. But when it's ASL, it's just a different grammar, period. Okay, so the first one that's more obvious is term, meaning a word, right? A word. That term that they used. It's usually a word. Maybe it could be a short phrase. You could do term and then turn that same thing, more kind of a C hand shape. So it's like this term. And then in math, you have a term, or you have terms. It's not just necessarily a symbol, but a math term. So it can be several symbols or a couple of symbols. It's more than one. It's a math expression. So a math expression would be term, just like we did word, like for term, if we wanted to do it like that, if it was a phrase or two words that made up a term. You could do word for a term. Because we say, what's the word? We don't say, what's the term? Or what do those young people say? What's that word? And it could be two words together. But we wouldn't say, what's that term nowadays? So for math, I would use term. Like I said, it's this. Where's my black? This, and do it like this. So I would do, for math, I'd say that math term. So then another thing is like terms that are on like a contract, or the terms of the policy, or something like that, like the insurance policy or whatever, or the terms of agreement. And that's usually on a contract if you're buying something. So that could be terms, like we do list. We go the terms, the conditions of that contract, or the conditions of this agreement. Like if you're buying something that's very expensive, right? It's expensive. You would buy it with a contract, and you would have terms of agreement. So you go. I usually use my fingers because it helps to remember. But if I'm doing it in real life, I wouldn't move my fingers. I would just, maybe slightly, because you're going to this one and this one and this one and this one and this one, right? The terms of the contract. So that's three ways that we do term. And the fourth way is like next term or midterm. I know, like in British or European society, they say this term. And even earlier American, they use the word term, meaning what we use now is semester. This term or this semester. And some colleges are different on their terms. So semester is a good one. You don't have to use your left hand. I do, and I think it's because of the way I learned it, but you don't have to, because it doesn't do really anything. It's just your backboard, right? Semester. You could do it this way or with the hand. I don't know. I just learned it with the hand, but you can do it without it, and it would still mean the same thing, right? Semester. Now, if it's midterm grades, because we don't say mid-semester grades, we still use mid-term. So you could say middle. You take your open 8 hand and do it in the middle, because that's the middle. Don't do this. That's medicine. Middle. And then I would spell term. That's how I do it. Midterm. You could do the middle of the semester. I've never seen anyone do that. Or middle semester. Middle semester. I've never seen anyone do that where I live. It's always been midterm, and then we spell it. So I would say midterm. But if you see someone that does middle semester, go ahead with that one. Because it means the same thing, right? And then the last one that I would use it, because like I said, midterm, we don't normally do that. But a term can be a period of time. So you can do that two different ways. I know y'all just going, wait a minute, so many signs. So you could say, like, it needs to be within this term limits, or this amount of time. Like, we're going to give you free, interest rates for this term, right? For the term of September through December, whatever. So you could say, so that's a time limit, right? So that's when you do time, and then you put your limit. And this is not exact, it's just time limit. It has a beginning and an end. And in the middle, it's free interest, and then you'll need to pay it off, right? Or if it's past that time, then going forward, you would have to pay an interest percent, right? An interest fee. So if it's a limit of time, like a term, during this term, we're going to do this, which is a time limit. So I would do time limit, if it's used in that way. Or you could do term, like we do, like on a clock, we do hour, right? Because the hand goes around. That's an hour. And we've done semester. And we've done era, which is T for time. You could do that for term, right? This term, which is really the semester, or the time period of, during this time period, we're going to do whatever. But time limit is really what helpful, because we do this for periodic or period, like for classes for schools, like during this period, it's my off time, or this period I have math, or this period I have science. So they do use that one, and this, because this is time, right? A T, and it goes around the clock, it's time. So you can do that for periodic table. I do that just because I don't want to have to spell it or use a different sign. So you could do that. So you could do term. I don't know, for this time or this era, I don't know that I would use it, but you could use it. I would do a time limit. If it's talking about a time limit, I would do time limit. I would do it that way, just because it's more clear. And that's really the important part, really, is being clear. But you could, if someone did that and I was kind of watching it, I would probably go, oh, okay, so this, for this term, but then they would probably say term period, right? Term limits. But if they do that, then you do a time limit. Term, time limit. Semester, midterm, term for math, or term for word. I think I got them all in there. So, so those are the things that you have to think about, is that in English, because English is really just borrowed from different languages, and so we have to think about, what does that mean, the usage that we have today in America. And it's different obviously in various countries. So anyway, practice with your hearing and your deaf friends, and you can practice in the mirror. You can practice on your computer camera and videotape yourself, and then you can watch it and find out, and have it silent so you can see, if I can read it, then I'm probably signing it correctly. So if you turn your voice off, you may forget like what you just signed, right? So then you can try to see if I can understand myself. Anyway, enjoy practicing. I'll see you later. Bye.